Welcome to the Deep Dive, Congress in Context. Today, we're pulling back the curtain a bit on the daily grind of American governance.
Yeah, instead of the big headlines, we're zooming in.
Exactly. We're looking at just one single day, Friday, July 25, 2025. It might seem quiet on the surface, but our mission here is to show you just how much is actually happening, behind the scenes, shaping laws and policy, even when things look slow.
And our guide for this is the official congressional record from that day.
Right.
What's really insightful, I think, is how even a short session, or like you said, a day where one chamber isn't even meeting, could give us this crucial window. A window into the legislative rhythm, the policy debates just bubbling underneath.
We'll unpack the procedures, the legislative moves, maybe some political currents too.
Absolutely. All from this one snapshot in time.
Okay, so let's dive in. What jumps out right away from the record for July 25th?
Well, the first thing is this real contrast between the House and Senate. Senate, they weren't in session at all that Friday.
Completely quiet. Right. They were scheduled to come back Monday, July 28th at 3 p.m., and the plan was specifically to look at a couple of nominations. Samuel Brown for Undersecretary of Veterans Affairs for Memorial Affairs, and they also had a vote scheduled on cloture for David Wright. He's up for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission.
And maybe we should just quickly explain cloture for folks who aren't, steeped in Senate procedure.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, cloture is basically a procedural vote. It's how the Senate says, okay, enough debate, let's move towards a final vote on a nomination or a bill. It takes 60 votes usually.
Rate limits debate.
Exactly.
Fair.
So that was the Senate's plan for Monday. Now, compare that to the House. They did meet on Friday, but wow, was it brief.
Incredibly brief.
Convened at 11 a.m., adjourned 11:02 a.m., 2 minutes.
2 minutes. But they still packed in the formalities, didn't they?
They did. You had the Speaker pro tempore, Mr. HARIDOPOLOS, appointed by Speaker Mike Johnson. Chaplain Kibben offered a prayer. They did the Pledge of Allegiance, approved the journal from the day before.
Yeah.
Ticking the boxes.
And that brevity, it really tells you something, doesn't it? Why bother for 2 minutes?
Yeah, why?
It's often what's called a pro forma session.
Yeah.
Basically, for the record, sometimes it's just to fulfill constitutional requirements or maybe make appointments, receive messages, or just keep the legislative clock running on certain things. These little procedural moments, they might seem minor, but they're actually vital. They keep the gears of government turning.
So it's not just symbolic.
Not at all. And the prayer, the pledge, even in that super short session, it underscores those traditions that mark the opening of business. It's like a symbolic anchor.
Okay, so these pro forma sessions are functionally important, even if they're quick. What about actual legislative action? Did anything concrete move forward on this quiet Friday?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Yes.
Oh.
The record notes the signing of an enrolled bill. That's HAR 1316.
Enrolled bill. Remind us what that means again.
Right. So enrolled means a bill has passed both the House and the Senate in the exact same form. No differences. It's been printed on parchment, signed by the House Speaker and the Senate President pro tempore, and it's basically ready. Ready for the final step, the President's desk.
Got it. So HR 1316 was at that stage. What's it about?
This one is to amend the Export Control Reform Act of 2018 relating to licensing transparency. So dealing with rules around exports.
And the Speaker actually signed this on Thursday the 24th, but it was formally noted in the record on Friday the 25th. So a real tangible outcome.
Exactly. It's a great reminder that even on a day that feels slow, the legislative pipeline is still processing things. Bills that finish their journey earlier are still moving through these final mechanical steps. It's not just about debates, it's about process.
Right. The output of maybe months or years of earlier work just sort of formally concluding.
Precisely.
Okay, and speaking of that pipeline, what about bills still in the pipeline? Any committee action noted?
Yes, definitely. The record shows several important committee reports were filed on Thursday, July 24th, the day before our focus day, but they're part of that week's activity flow.
And what kind of bills were these?
We saw reports on HR 47524, which is the appropriations bill for the Department of the Interior, Environment, and related agencies for fiscal year 2026. So, funding. Also, HR 4779, another appropriations bill, this one for national security, State Department, and related programs. Again, FY 2026 funding.
Big money bills.
Huge. And also HR 940, which aims to amend the Federal Financial Institutions Examination Council Act, basically looking to improve how banks and depository institutions are examined.
Okay, so these bills got reported out of their committees. What does that mean happens next?
It means they're now referred to the Committee of the Whole House, which sounds complicated, but it's essentially the entire House membership acting as one big committee.
Ah.
It's the next major step before a bill can get a final vote on the House floor. So reporting out of committee and going to the committee of the whole, that signals real progress. These aren't just ideas anymore. They've been debated, maybe amended, and approved by the specialized committee.
They've cleared a major hurdle.
A very big hurdle. It means they're getting closer to potentially becoming law.
Gotcha. But Congress isn't just about moving existing bills forward, right? It's also constantly generating new ideas. Did we see any new bills introduced on Friday the 25th?
Oh, yeah. Lots of new ideas hitting the hopper. The record lists quite a few. It really shows the sheer range of issues members are focused on.
Give us a taste. What kind of things?
Okay, well, you had H.R. 4763 from Mr. Magaziner. That's about requiring employers to provide paid annual leave, a big topic.
Yeah.
Then H.R. 4771 from Mr. Scott of Virginia focused on helping employers support individuals with disabilities in competitive integrated employment and phasing out some older certificate programs.
Interesting. What else? Anything more controversial, perhaps?
Well, it depends on your perspective, of course.
Oh.
H.R. 4758 from Mr. Goldman of Texas aims to repeal parts of a prior law dealing with taxpayer subsidies for home electrification.
Ah, rolling something back.
Exactly. And H.R. 4765 from Mr. Moore of North Carolina wants to reprogram, basically reallocate, all the remaining unspent funds from the IRS enforcement account established by a previous law.
So, definitely reflecting some current political debates there.
Absolutely. And then you get into some really specific areas, too.
What?
Like H.R. 4757 from Mrs. Escobar, directing the Secretary of Agriculture to remove non-ambulatory pigs unable to walk from the U.S. food system.
Wow, okay. Very specific.
And H.R. 4773 from Mr. Smith of Nebraska, proposing a skilled nursing facility or SNF at home program under Medicare, trying new models of care.
And it wasn't just bills, right? There were resolutions, too.
Correct. H.Res. 611 from Mrs. Kamek expressed the importance of accurate information for doctors treating pregnant women and their unborn children. And H.Res. 613 from Ms. McCollum expressed support for designating July as Disability Pride Month.
That's quite a mix, from paid leave and IRS funding to pig welfare and disability pride.
It really underscores how Congress is this arena where, everything eventually comes up. Huge national issues sit right alongside very targeted, specific concerns. It shows the diverse priorities members bring from their districts.
Sets the stage for future debates, for sure.
Definitely. These are the starting points.
Now, besides creating laws, Congress also oversees the agencies that implement the laws, right? Did we see any of that on July 25th?
Yes, quite a bit, actually, under the heading Executive Communications. This is where federal agencies report back to Congress, often sending over new rules or regulations they've issued.
Okay.
On this day, there were over a dozen letters, EC 1539 through EC 1558, from various agencies, the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, NOAA's National Marine Fishery Service, quite a few.
And where do these communications go?
Interestingly, all of these specific ones were referred to the Committee on Natural Resources.
Ah, makes sense given the agencies involved. What kind of rules were they about?
A real grab bag of technical stuff, mostly related to environmental and resource management. Things like correcting amendments on bonding requirements for appealing civil penalties. And then a whole slew of temporary rules or modifications for managing fisheries. Pacific cod, Atlantic bluefish, West Coast salmon, bluefin tuna, Gulf of Mexico species, scup, shark, Caribbean fisheries, South Atlantic species, even Fraser River sockeye salmon.
Wow, that's incredible detailed, down to specific fish species.
It really shows the granular level of regulation happening constantly. And Congress, or at least the relevant committee, is kept in the loop. It's part of their oversight function, keeping tabs on how agencies are carrying out the laws, especially in complex areas like natural resources.
It's that quieter, maybe less glamorous side of congressional work, but clearly essential.
Absolutely vital for ensuring the regulatory state is functioning as intended, or at least that Congress is aware of what it's doing.
Okay, let's shift gears a little now. Let's unpack the political dynamics, because the Congressional Record isn't just dry procedure and bill text, is it?
Not at all. It's also a place where members voice their opinions, their frustrations, their praise, sometimes very forcefully.
And we saw some of that on July 25th. Mr. Cohen of Tennessee put a statement in the Record titled, "Condemning chaotic and harmful failings of this Congress."
Doesn't sound like he was happy.
Not exactly. He stated, and this is a direct quote from his statement as reported, "We have thus far gotten an F for the work of the people in this Congress."
Wow. An F, that's blunt.
Very blunt. And he listed specific reasons for this grade. Again, according to his statement, he claimed Congress had taken health care away from hundreds of thousands of people, taken S&P payments and nutritional sustenance away from tens and hundreds of thousands of people, made injuries to the earth, and taken away from women the right to go to Planned Parenthood for health care needs. Also criticized removing protections for clean energy.
So covering a wide range of policy areas.
Yes, and he specifically called out the rescissions bill, that's legislation aiming to cancel previously approved funding, and something he called the Big Ugly Bill.
Which is kind of informal Capitol Hill speak, usually for a large, must-pass spending package, often cobbled together with lots of different things.
Right. And Mr. Cohen contended in his statement that these actions contributed to incalculable pain, suffering, and death all around the world and provided tax breaks for millionaires and billionaires.
Strong language.
Very. He also cited a Newsweek report claiming the current Congress was one of the least effective ever, passing only 27 bills since January 3. Now, it's crucial we emphasize this is his perspective, his strong critique, entered into the official record.
And it vividly shows the deep political disagreements, doesn't it? It highlights the frustration some members feel about the pace or the direction of the legislative process. It's a clear snapshot of the partisan divide.
Absolutely. And he wasn't the only one using the record to voice strong opinions on policy. Ms. McCollum of Minnesota also submitted a statement.
What was your focus?
Hers was titled Opposing H.R. 3633, S. 5182, and H.R. 1919. These were all bills related to cryptocurrency.
Ah, the ongoing crypto debate.
Exactly. She laid out her concerns about the current state of crypto regulation and what she saw as risks to her constituents' financial security. Specifically, she argued that H.R. 3633, the Clarity Act, would, in her view, carve the crypto industry out from current securities laws. She worried this could expose consumers to harmful crypto practices and even enable potential conflicts of interest, mentioning Trump and his family through meme coins like Trump.
So linking it to specific political figures and potential issues.
Yes. Then, regarding S. 1582, the Genius Act on stablecoins, her statement argued it fails to establish an effective federal framework. She contended it might actually open the door for big tech and other commercial businesses like Meta, Amazon, and Walmart to amass consolidated power in the financial space through stablecoins.
Interesting concern about market concentration there.
And finally, H.R. 1919, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. Her statement argued this bill would stifle innovation at the Federal Reserve by basically stopping them from even researching a potential central bank digital currency, or CBDC.
So she's worried it cuts off exploration of a future possibility.
Right. She framed her opposition to these specific bills while saying she wasn't against crypto itself, but felt these approaches lacked necessary consumer protections and a solid regulatory framework, again, presenting her stated reasons neutrally.
It's a great example of how members use these statements to really dig into the details of complex legislation, especially in fast-moving areas like tech and finance. It signals that push and pull between wanting to encourage innovation and needing to ensure stability and protect consumers.
A balancing act that Congress is clearly still grappling with.
Very much so.
Now, shifting focus again, sometimes the record is used to draw attention to international issues. We saw an example of that too, didn't we?
We did. Mr. Smith of New Jersey submitted a letter for the record titled, Designating Nigeria a Country of Particular Concern.
And this wasn't just his opinion, right?
No, the record indicates this letter was drafted by religious freedom experts. And it paints a pretty stark picture. It stated, the dire state of religious freedom in Nigeria.
What kind of details did it include?
Some really alarming statistics and accounts. It cited the Open Doors 2025 World Watch List, claiming Nigeria is the world's deadliest country for Christians, attributing 3,100 out of about 4,500 global killings in the reporting period to Nigeria.
That's stark.
It is. The letter mentioned actions by groups like Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa Province, referencing the infamous Chibok schoolgirls kidnapping, noting Leah Sharibu is still captive. But it also specifically pointed to violence by militant Fulani Muslim herders, alleging they've been allowed to target Christian villages with impunity.
So, multiple sources of persecution described.
Yes, it described conditions in internally displaced people, or IDP camps, as unspeakably inhumane, mentioning over 2 million displaced people just in the Makurdi diocese. It also cited the enforcement of Islamic blasphemy laws, leading to death sentences or long prison terms, like for Yahya Sharif Aminu and Mubarak Bala.
And it connected this to recent events.
It did. It referenced a House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee hearing from March 2025 and reports of a recent massacre between May 24th and 26th, 2025 in Benue State. The letter states at least 42 people were shot dead by suspected herders in Bishop Inagbi's home village and surrounding areas.
Just awful details. What was the purpose of putting this in the record?
The letter explicitly urged members to co-sponsor and pass HRES 220, which calls for Nigeria to be redesignated by the State Department as a country of particular concern for religious freedom violations.
So using the record to build support for specific legislative action on foreign policy.
Exactly. It's a way to amplify international human rights issues, put pressure on the administration, and inform other members. It shows how domestic legislative work connects directly to global concerns. We're just reporting the contents neutrally here, as they appeared in the source.
Right. Now, amidst all these debates and serious issues, is there any sign of, well, cooperation? Does anything suggest members are working together across the aisle?
Well, it's sometimes hard to see explicit bipartisanship just from the daily record entries, unless it's specifically mentioned.
Nah.
But you can see hints,
Like what?
like the lists of additional sponsors. When you see members from both parties adding their names as co-sponsors to a bill introduced by someone from the other party, that's a sign of cross-party effort.
Ah, okay. Did we see that on the 25th?
Yes, for example, H.R. 4768, a bill about improving dependent coverage under the TRICARE Young Adult Program for military families, saw quite a few new co-sponsors added that day, likely from both sides. It suggests broader appeal.
So looking at co-sponsorship lists can be a clue. What else?
Procedural tools can sometimes hint at cross-party frustration or alliances, like discharge petitions.
Remind us how those work.
A discharge petition is a way for rank-and-file members to force a bill out of committee and onto the floor for a vote, even if the committee chair or party leadership doesn't want to move it. It requires a majority of the House 218 signatures, so it's tough to pull off.
Kind of a safety valve or pressure release.
Exactly. And sometimes members from both parties might sign on to one if they feel strongly about an issue that's being bottled up. On July 25th, the record shows members like Mr. Meeks and Mr. Golden of Maine adding their names to various existing discharge petitions for different House resolutions, HRES 391, 393, 432, and others.
So even if the petition itself doesn't succeed, the act of signing on sends a message.
Precisely. It shows members are willing to use these tools, sometimes across party lines, to try and force action. So even amidst the conflict, the mechanics of legislating involve these moments of potential cooperation, or at least shared procedural goals.
Okay, so beyond the bills, the rules, the politics, there's another whole section in the record, isn't there? The extensions of remarks.
Yes, and this is where you often find some really human stories. It's where members can insert statements, tributes, recognitions, things that might not be strictly legislative, but are important parts of their representative role.
It gives us a different kind of glimpse, doesn't it, into the lives touched by Congress or the communities members represent?
Absolutely. It connects the grand scale of Washington back to individual people and local events. It adds a really valuable human dimension.
And some of the stories included on this particular day were quite powerful.
They really were.
For instance, Mr. Costa of California honored a young man named Ian Kalvinskas, just 20 years old, a UCLA student.
What was his story?
He was an intern on Capitol Hill who tragically passed away from liver cancer. Mr. Costa described him as having a deep passion for social justice, aspiring to work for the UN. And even while battling cancer, he achieved his dream of interning in Congress in the summer of 2025, his goal. According to the tribute, he wanted to make a difference now by helping write legislation that ensures pediatric patients receive fair consideration on the organ transplant waiting list.
Wow. Trying to help others facing similar health battles.
Exactly. And the really poignant part, he passed away just a week after his internship ended, in the shadow of the Capitol. Just heartbreaking, but also inspiring.
Truly. It underscores the drive that brings people, even young people facing incredible adversity, into public service.
And there are others honored, too. Mr. Vargas of California paid tribute to Alicia Eugenia White Bell. She was born in Georgia, participated in the historic Selma to Montgomery March, served in the Domestic Peace Corps with migrant workers, and then had a long career as a teacher and probation officer in San Diego. A life dedicated to service.
Amazing life story.
And Miss Capture from Ohio recognized Bruce Baumhauer, a retiring UAW leader from Toledo, president of Local 12 for over half a century.
Half a century. Incredible dedication.
Yeah, she highlighted his leadership through tough times and good times for auto workers, helping establish Jeep plants, even co-founding Toledo's Jeep Fest, really celebrating a lifetime of labor advocacy.
These tributes, they really ground the work of Congress, don't they? They remind us of the values, service, justice, community, dedication that motivate people both inside and outside of government.
Definitely. And it wasn't just individuals being honored, right?
Mm.
Members also recognized community achievements.
That's right, connecting back to their districts.
Mr. Crow of Colorado welcomed Denver Summit FC, the new National Women's Soccer League team, to Denver, highlighting its importance for women's sports and their investment in a new training facility.
Celebrating local progress and growth.
Mr. Vicente Gonzalez of Texas gave a shout-out to the West Brownsville Little League senior team. They were runners-up for a spot in the Little League World Series, the first time their community had gotten that far in 73 years.
Fantastic. That must have been huge for the town.
You bet. And Mr. Garamendi of California congratulated the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs chapter in Solano County on their 10th anniversary, praising their work, empowering the AAPI community through civic engagement and leadership development.
So, from Major League Sports to Little League Dreams to civic groups, it shows that members are paying attention to all sorts of successes back home.
It really demonstrates that deep connection, doesn't it? Even while dealing with national and international issues, they remain rooted in their local communities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that representation works on multiple levels.
So we've looked at the procedures, the bills, the politics, the people. Bringing it all together, what does this single day, July 25th, 2025, suggest about the future? What's next?
Well, looking immediately ahead based on the record, those appropriations bills and the financial institutions bill reported from committee, they're now officially on the House calendar, waiting for floor time. That's a concrete next step.
Okay.
And the Senate, as we noted, was set to return Monday the 28th, with those specific votes scheduled on the nominations for Samuel Brown and David Wright. So immediate action expected there. The House had another pro forma session scheduled for Tuesday the 29th.
And looking at the broader trends revealed in this snapshot.
I think you see several things clearly. Mr. Cohen's sharp critique reflects those persistent ongoing debates about whether Congress is effective, the depth of partisan gridlock. That's not going away.
Right.
Ms. McCollum's statement on crypto, that signals the continued tension between wanting to foster technological innovation and needing to establish guardrails, especially in finance. That debate will definitely continue.
And the Nigeria letter.
That underscores Congress's ongoing role in foreign policy and human rights advocacy. Members will keep using the tools they have, like the record, to push for U.S. action on global issues.
And all those new bills introduced.
It just shows the sheer, unrelenting pipeline of ideas and demands coming into Congress. Members are constantly trying to address new problems or old problems in new ways, covering everything from labor rights and healthcare access to animal welfare and niche regulatory issues. Those ideas introduced today might become major debates tomorrow.
So this seemingly quiet Friday was actually a pretty good microcosm of Congress, wasn't it?
I think so. You had legislative output, even if small. You had intense policy battles being articulated. You had oversight happening. You have members connecting with constituents and global issues. It really shows all the different layers operating simultaneously. These seeds planted on Friday will keep growing.
So wrapping this up, what does this deep dive mean for you, the listener? Well, hopefully it shows that even on a day that doesn't make headlines, a lot is happening in Congress. Issues that touch your life are constantly being discussed, debated, advanced, or introduced.
It's not always dramatic, but it's always moving.
And if you want to follow up on anything we discussed, maybe that paid leave bill, H.R. 4763, or the export control bill, H.R. 3316, or the concerns about Nigeria, you absolutely can. The best place to go is congress.gov. It's free, it's searchable. You can look up bills by number, by sponsor, by keyword, disability employment, SNF at home. Whatever interests you, you can read the full text.
It's an incredibly powerful resource for citizen engagement.
And if you read something and feel strongly about it, contact your representatives. Find their website, send an email, or, pick up the phone. The Capitol switchboard number is 202-224-3121. They can connect you directly to your representative's or senator's office.
Your voice really does matter in that process.
Absolutely. So keep congress.gov bookmarked. Watch for those upcoming Senate votes on Monday, July 28th for Samuel Brown and David Wright. Those are concrete things happening next. And remember, understanding these daily workings, even the seemingly mundane stuff, that is civic engagement. It helps you understand how policy gets made and how you can participate meaningfully beyond just voting.
Which really leaves us with a question for you to think about. Looking at this snapshot from July 25th, what aspect strikes you as most revealing about where American governance or society stands right now?
A great question to ponder. Thanks for diving deep with us into the legislative machinery today. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep engaging with your democracy.